Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM.
The time has now moved on to 19 hours 1 with your news this evening. I'm Kevin Smith. The Guyana government is pushing ahead with a gas-to-energy initiative for which, according to Chartered Accountant Christopher Ram, the country will be left to face all expenses, while any spending by the operator will be recovered from cost oil or cost gas. This was noted by Ram in his most recent public writings, even as scoping meetings are ongoing for the project by the EPA, subsequent to an application by ESSO for environmental authorization to go ahead with the project. Ram is making this position public, and he pointed out that under the provisions of the production sharing agreement, the operator is required to include the development plan of each oil field, a plan for the utilization of the associated gas. In other news, since the EPA got rid of its updated 2020 guidelines for environmental impact assessments, the agency has changed its tune on their importance. It is now claiming that shelving the guidelines will not affect the quality of the environmental impact assessments at all. The EPA said this in a media release on Tuesday. We had pointed out that the removal of the guidelines was done just 6 days before the agency announced a requirement for ExxonMobil to conduct an assessment for the $900 million gas-to-energy project. This is an indisputable fact. Furthermore, the agency had said that it withdrew the guidelines to conduct consultations with stakeholders. They are called Revised Environmental Impact Assessment Guidelines of 2020 for mining, forestry, hydropower, thermal power, electricity transmission, and offshore petroleum exploration and production. In other news, despite recording a decrease in other serious crimes, a 70% increase was recorded for this year so far regarding rape matters. This was recently revealed by Acting Commissioner of Police Nigel Hoppy. The top cop made the disclosure on Thursday while speaking at the awards and incentives ceremony, where a total of 3,258 ranks and 28 community policing groups were awarded for their outstanding contributions in support of the Guyana Police Force. The Acting Commissioner of Police is not the only member of the Guyana Police Force who made such a disclosure. Meanwhile, on June 15, 2021, Commander of Division 4B, Senior Superintendent Mahendra Sunarayan, revealed that his district has seen an increase in rape matters when compared to the same period last year. And moving on, the Guyana government is paying the taxes for oil companies, but appears comfortable going after local broadcasters struggling to make ends meet in a COVID-19 environment. This is evident through the actions of the Guyana National Broadcasting Authority, or GNBA, which on Thursday published the names of several broadcasters who have failed to pay their broadcast license fees, including the state media. The agency, in a public missive, said, and I quote, "It has been very patient and lenient, but continues to face an arduous task of obtaining its fees from cable, radio, and television broadcasters. This, notwithstanding, GNBA continues to face an arduous task of obtaining broadcast license fees." As such, GNBA said it wishes to highlight the financially non-compliant broadcasters and has since published a list of all the defaulting companies. And now let's tell you the licensing practices of the Guyana Energy Agency continue to come under question following the issuance of a fuel transport license to a company that had its vessel seized in Venezuela for smuggling. The vessel was detained in neighboring Venezuela on March 11, 2020, and in December the local state council had advised the GEA that no criminal charges was laid. At the time the vessel was seized in Venezuela, the country's regional director general of the Ministry of People's Power of Energy and Petroleum had requested that the vessel's fuel be tested. It was found that at the time of that vessel had entered the western neighbor's jurisdiction without notification, in addition to being without a contracting shipping agency. And moving on, the Ministry of Agriculture has signed $115 million in contracts to boost the sector's performance. Of that amount, $26 million will go to the defunct Rose Hall factory. This project will bring the estate one step closer to becoming operational. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa said this act is in keeping with the government's commitment to the people. He further stated that when the administration was in opposition, it had said that it would reopen the closed sugar estates.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at